In KNIME, I'm going to walk you through the workflow and new nodes that you haven't seen yet, and then talk you through a couple of the things that you might need some help with. So the first part, we read in the CSV file. We've done that before. This is the combined data set that I created in the R code. We're going to sort the table so that we can do the lags. And remember, the lags in KNIME is a little more complicated than in R. So we have to sort it, and then we run this loop to go through each company and then do the lags here. So I created the lagged assets. Then I use these formulas to create the new columns. So each one for each new column. So I just created accruals here. We can look at it too. So here is my accruals measure, net income minus cash flows divided by the lagged assets that I created. And here I created the natural log of 1 plus the lagged assets. So those are the two that I used in the video before. So I didn't create all the same variables that I did in R, but I did create the ones that I used for the video. So then the first part we're going to do is look at the output and try and identify outliers. So we can create percentiles here. And this is with the group by node, and the group by node gives you a bunch of things you can aggregate to create summaries of the data. So I'm counting how many there are, I'm doing the minimum, the maximum, and then this is how you do the quantiles here. So you click on this, select the percentiles, and then edit it to select which percentile to use. So I created all of these to output. We execute it, and we can look and see here. It gives us how many observations there were, the minimum, this very large negative, maximum. So we have all of these things we can take and use to see that there are outliers. The histogram, when you execute it, you have to execute and open values, or we can open this interactive view histogram. And it shows us again that there are large outliers here that we don't see. We just see this, all of this around 0. And then we have this are missing values. So that's because I selected on showing missing values. Shows us there are a bunch of missing values as well. Again, a histogram that we're not really pleased with. We can do the same thing with the box plot node. So this was histogram node. This is box plot node. Open up the plot here. And this one goes up and down rather than side to side, but most of them are around 0, and then it shows you their outliers, particularly for the negative side. So all of these show you some of the outliers. Then if we want to go and change those and deal with those outliers, I'm just showing you a couple of things here. So first we could filter on making the lower bound of the assets, the lagged assets, 5 million. So I just did both of these here, so I didn't have to do it multiple times. But I selected all those that were less than 5 million. Then I also, that the assets were greater than 5 million. Then I created a bound on the accruals column, so between -5 and +5. So I could select any of those here, and how I have to do it if I want to know a specific quantile would be to go back here on the percentiles, create those, and then select from here what that quantile would be. So I just chose an arbitrary number, -5 to +5, which is a little less than the 99.9, but I could do the exact same ones with the 2nd and 98th percentile if I created those here, then went down here and manually input these into these bounds. So we could go through and make it more complicated to come up with those actual bounds other than manually inputting them, but this I think is the most straightforward way. So I put these bounds in place. So I've got 2 filters here. Then a little trick you have to do to get the histogram to look right is we have to tell it what the domain is for the column. So I'm using this accrual column and retaining their min and max domain. It's similar on the possible values, so I'm not really messing with that. Retain the possible values, retain the min and max. What this will do, and these are the defaults, by the way, so I'm just resetting the min and the max that it has kept in its memory to be able to draw a histogram that makes sense. If you don't, then it keeps the domain from the histogram up here, and the histograms look the same even though you've changed the data. So a little trick about KNIME that you gotta make sure you remember and do in there. Once we do this, you can go ahead and look at the histogram and notice it looks like a pretty normal distribution. Of course, we could mess around with it even more and cut off more so that we're within a range that we're happy with. But more or less, this gives us something that we're happy to work with. We could then also look at the percentiles again. And it goes from the min to the max. They're within that range of the cutoff. Of course, notice it didn't even get to that high range, so removing the really small lagged assets got rid of the extremes on the positive side. So a couple of other things to notice. So there is no quantile plot in here. That's because there isn't something native to the KNIME yet that has that in there. We could do that using R within KNIME, but for now I'm going to keep it simple with things that you can use directly from the KNIME software.